So, when you have been trying to create a macOS Ventura virtual machine in UTM, you might have noticed a problem, which is that you can't. And the reason is because you have to be a paid Apple developer member to be able to download IPSW files. And there are third-party sites that host IPSW files, but really that's kind of a bad idea to download stuff off a third-party site because who knows. So in this video, I'm going to show you a workaround of how to create a macOS Ventura virtual machine or just a Monterey virtual machine without the need of an IPSW file. And I thought I would just mention, if we go to About UTM here, we are running version 4.0.1, which is a beta version, so there might be bugs or whatever. But I just downloaded this beta because there's a cool new feature that will allow you to boot into Recovery OS. So I just figured I would try that and just see how that worked, maybe off camera. But so all we need to do is just go to Create New Virtual Machine, virtualize macOS 12 and later, and don't click anything here unless you have an IPSW file, but we obviously don't. So you continue. Let's allot 8 gigabytes of RAM and slot 4 cores just to save ourselves some power, and 64 gigabytes of storage. And then we will name this macOS, and then we will let this file download, and it's just going to take a few minutes here. Now, I just thought I should mention, I want to at some point get another Intel Mac, because the problem that I'm having is all my Intel Macs are so old and underpowered, and they're all non-metal. And so what I want to do actually is get a metal-supported Intel Mac and show you how to install macOS Ventura in a virtual machine without graphics acceleration, because that is possible to do on an Intel Mac. So just stay tuned. Maybe in a few months I will have purchased that. But just a little side note there. So we are done downloading the file, and it didn't have any errors, so that is good. So we can just go ahead and start up this virtual machine, and we are going to click OK. And now it is going to proceed with the installation. And once this is done, we should be on a welcome screen with a setup assistant. Alright, so we are on a setup assistant, and I just figured I would show you the About This Mac storage. So we started at 150 gigabytes free, and we are down to 118. So this does use a crap ton of storage. So let's go through the setup assistant real quick, and then I can show you how we can move the virtual machine onto an external disk. Alright, so now we are on a usable desktop, and I just figured we should go into the preferences and do this, something that I always do when setting up a new Mac. We can see we've got full graphics acceleration, etc., etc. Well, actually, you can't see the dock, but that's okay. You can see that we have graphics acceleration, and we've done this. We've got plenty of storage, and there we go. So now what we need to do is actually shut down the virtual machine. Let's do that properly. Shut it down properly always, unless it's being weird. And then we're going to hit this little share button here. We're going to store it on this SanDisk. And here we go. And now it's going to write all of this data. And we can go to disk and see how much data it's writing per second. And this SSD isn't great. I mean, it's still an SSD, and I wouldn't store these on mechanical drives, but, this SSD is good enough for what I use it for. So this is running at around 300 megabytes a second. It is over USB-A. Over USB-C, it gets the full 1050 megabytes per second, but the USB-A is really slowing it down, which is okay. So we just need to wait for this to write 64 gigabytes around, maybe a little bit more, and then we can delete this one, start up from the external SSD, and then install Ventura via the public beta cycle. So, all right, so the virtual machine has been deleted, and now we are going to boot off the SanDisk virtual machine. Now, I just figured I would show you because we started with 152 gigabytes, like I said, and since we deleted it, we still are not at 152. And why is that? That's because it cached the IPSW file somewhere. So we need to go find, we need to hunt that down. Where the heck is that IPSW? So I've got a tool installed called ncdu. It's just installed via brew install ncdu. It's a really nice tool. I use it all the time when I want to free up storage. Because any disk cleaner, you really can't do this good if you do it manually. So it gives you a full layout of the disk. So we've got all the data, including all the data on the SanDisk, but we don't want to browse all the data on the SanDisk because it doesn't cache on there. So we go to /users, and then here's the home folder, and we go to library because that's a big 19.6. That's an indicator. Oh, the IPSW is probably somewhere there. That's an indicator. Containers. That's an indicator. com.utm app.utm. That's an indicator there. So it's in this enormously long directory. So what we need to do is delete the IPSW file out of this directory. So let's go find that directory. So what would that be? So I'm just going to exit out of here real quick, open a new Finder tab, and go to folder. So that would be /users /Rowan McJimsey /library /containers /com.utm app. Oops. And I think we can stop here, go here, data, library, caches. There's the big guy, 14.09 gigs, gone. So we have hunted that down. Now we should have pretty close to where we were. Yep, 150. So we close out of ncdu there. And there we go. Well, now we can start up the virtual machine off of the SanDisk. So now it is booting right off of that SanDisk. And the fact that the IPSW file has been deleted should not matter. Yep, there it goes. We might have to do some display settings here. Actually, I don't know. Looks like it's working okay. So now we're just back how we left it with all of our storage freed up. So where do we go from here? Well, we need to enroll ourselves in the public beta. So, all right, so I am actually going to cheat and use the seedutil binary. And so you can't copy clipboard text because I don't have that option enabled. I don't even know if it's actually an option. So I've got this note here on my computer from back in June with the location of the seedutil binary. And man, that is a long path. And we're going to go enroll PublicSeed. And we need to do it as sudo. Oops. Should work. There we go. Now we are enrolled in the public beta. Let's just go ahead and log out and log back in just to make sure. And so I might put that long path that I had to type in the description because that is okay. So now we got feedback assistance. That's good. Now we should be able to see the software update. And if not, we will do it. There we go. There we go. And there's this new software update mechanism. There's beautifully explained by a guy named Mr. McIntosh. He does a really nice explanation about how this new software update works. But basically, if you're on M1, it will only download the files necessary for the update. In this case, it's 5.42 gigabytes, and we can see that we have the beta right here. And so let's go ahead and hit upgrade now. That'll just take a short moment here. There's the agreement. Let's type in our password, and there we go. And just like normal, let's go to Activity Monitor, and we can monitor the network progress here. So we can see here it's downloading at around 11 megabytes per second. I'm plugged in Ethernet. And so that is going to take just a few moments here to download and prepare. And then once we are on an installer, maybe even a black Apple logo, we'll see what happens. I can resume the video and show you where to go from there. Right, it took actually 2 tries to successfully download it. I accidentally quit System Preferences in the middle of the download the first time. So let's go ahead and hit upgrade now. Type in the password. And there we go. I think it is preparing here. There we go. And so now this is going to install macOS Ventura. And this should take no longer than 15 minutes. Maybe a little longer, but I don't think this is going to take any longer than 15 minutes. And so when we are on a usable Ventura desktop, I will resume the video. Alright, so the update just finished. It did take just about 15 minutes. And now we are on a usable macOS Ventura desktop. So let's go up to About This Mac. Take a look at the new About This Mac here. It's kind of a cool little throwback to number 1, the old Thunderbolt display, or the LED cinema display. Number 2, it looks exactly like the old About This Mac pre 10.9 Mavericks. But if we go to more info, it's actually not going to go to system information. We actually have to do this to go to system information. And there's also no storage management. Command U does not work. So we can see here. There it is. There's the new system settings. So yes, we do have a working macOS Ventura installation. So yeah, I know this is the long way of installing macOS Ventura, but it works. It really, really works. And I think we've got all the cool apps. We've got weather and clock on here. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I know this was pretty long, but I hope it was informative. And please let me know if you have any questions. Please post down in the comments if you have any questions related to Ventura, related to testing virtual machines in UTM, etc., etc. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good night.